Welcome ladies and gentlemen, today I have for you a PU game against Charizard, and we've had a number of games now, and he always likes to bring some interesting stuff, which is what I like. I'll take a game against Marill and Chimecho over Golurk and Mashana any day of the week. But looking at the teams, I've got my Sweeper Noctowl, a Scarf Magnemite, Banded Beedrill and Sweeper Sandshrew, and then I have the second best core in PU of Kofairy, behind the first best core of Hippocool obviously, because Koffing and Kofairy, they've only got the one weakness, and that for Kofairy that's fighting, and Koffing takes those hits well. And for Koffing, that's Psychic, and Kofairy can take those hits quite well. On my opponent's side, the big threat is going to be the Magmar because it's quick, and if you call it wrong by going into Koffing expecting a Flare Blitz, and he goes to Fire Blast, well that's just going to be a huge problem. This is the first time I've ever seen a Marill as well, but I had a look at its stats, and really the only viable sets would be a Choice Scarfer or a Choice Bander, so let's jump straight into it. So Leeds, Dwebble was always going to be the lead on my opponent's side, because the whole Custat Berry entry hazard thing, that seems to have just shot up in popularity recently for some reason, I don't know why. So I thought I could start setting up with Noctowl. However, with hindsight, Sandshrew would have been the best lead because I do have the Rapid Spin. I can also hit him for some decent damage and he can't hit me very effectively. So I go for the agility with Noctowl and then the Air Slash as he just goes for rocks and then Rock Blast. And Rock Blast absolutely annihilates Noctowl. But he decides to use his Custat Berry for spikes and not killing me off, which just allows me to start Roost stalling him because Roost negates my flying type. Personally, I would have gone for Rock Blast there and just saved Dwebble either as a death fodder, or maybe there might have been an opportunity to set up entry hazard later on. So I can just Roost back to full, safe in the knowledge that when Dwebble blasts his rocks at me, they aren't going to be hitting me for super effective damage. However, he scores a crit on the last one, and I'd had enough at this point, so I do just decide to go for the Air Slash and finish him off. That is the end of Dwebble, so as soon as I can Rapid Spin, then there will be no more entry hazards on my side of the field this game. So he brings in Marill, and although the Aqua Jet is very obvious, I thought I was at a range of health where I could live that. So I just thought, Zangoose, Quick Attack, one of the strongest priority users in the new tier. I've lived a hit from that before, so surely a Marill Aqua Jet won't KO. But it does, and I've calced it, and the Zangoose Quick Attack is here for you. So I would indeed have lived that, and you're probably wondering what this has to do with anything, but that tells me that he is choice banded, and at the time I still wasn't quite sure, and that will come into play as you'll see later on in the game. So I bring in Koffing to tank physical hits, which is what I brought it for, and I know he doesn't want to stay in, and will switch out likely into Chimecho to threaten me with a Psychic move, so I can double switch into Kofairy, Legend 3.0, who just dicks on Legend 2.0, and it can just wall Chimecho, and he knows this and will switch out again, giving me a free turn to set up those Stealth Rocks, but I don't want to stay on a Cacnea, and I can just switch out to Magnemite, which resists both its stabs, and then without speed with the Choice Scarf. I know that even at +2, a Sucker Punch won't KO, and I can just return KO him with the Signal Beam, as he does go into his own specially defensive wall, the Kofairy, and Signal Beam literally does nothing to it. So I thought this would be a good opportunity now just to go into Sandshrew to Rapid Spin, but he makes a really good prediction and goes to Toxic on that switch, seeing that the Signal Beam was literally doing nothing, and figuring that I was probably Choice Locked. Unfortunately though, he knows that this is an offensive Sandshrew from a previous game which disconnected, so I won't be able to start going for Swords Dances. Now that I've gone for the Rapid Spin, Sandshrew has done pretty much all I wanted it to do this game, and I can just try and do as much damage as possible with Exorcist, but just before Sandshrew goes down. Because a Toxic Sandshrew, which is outsped by everything on my opponent's team, that is going to be no use to me. Seeing how much an Exorcist does, I was pretty confident that a Banded Stab U-turn would kill, and if he wants to save Chimecho, then I can get some Switch Initiative. And U-turn does in fact kill, I get the crit, but I don't think that matters. And he brings in Marill on the down, and I don't want to lose Kofairy because I may need it yet for Magmar, and there's no need sacking it when I can just go into Koffing, who can take Marill's hits for days. Waterfall is going to be a 3-hit KO, and if he wants to hit me again, I can just Pain Split, lowering his health and also putting me at a range whereby Koffing might be able to live another Waterfall. So with Magmar here, I know he's got the Focus Blast because he used it on a Kofairy switch in the previous game that got disconnected, so I thought he would Focus Blast, predicting that Kofairy switch, but he goes for Psychic, and it works out for him because I don't switch to Magnemite, who could have resisted it, obviously fearing that Focus or Fire Blast. But knowing that it's more than likely locked on Psychic, I can just go into Magnemite. I would have Volt switched here if I had it, but this is the same Magnemite from my Gravity team, so I don't actually have it on here. But I do just want to see how much T-Bolt will do. T-Bolt's doing about a quarter, but I've got him at a range where he will heal, so I do definitely have a free switch to Beedrill, which is my best way to bring this Kofairy down. And here he inadvertently sacks Magmar, perhaps predicting me to U-turn, but there really is no need U-turning because Poison Jab will KO his entire team, apart from this Marill. And this is the key play because if he is Jolly Scarf, then he does outspeed Jolly Banded Beedrill, and I can't lose Beedrill here because it is such a threat to his team. So I can sack Kofairy now that Magmar's gone and he doesn't have any more special attackers, and then bring in Scarf Magnemite, who does definitely outspeed Marill, seeing as though he can't go for the Aqua Jet because he's locked on the Waterfall. So once again we're back in a situation where I'm just spamming T-Bolts against Kofairy, and I want to force him to kill me off, and then that keeps his health low, so that Beedrill can just come in and take it down with a Poison Jab. So Kofairy does go down, and then in comes Cacnea to Sucker Punch before Marill comes in, and I don't take that hit well at all. I thought I'd take it a lot better than I did, but Cacnea is a big threat, and barring a misclick, that seals Beedrill's fate. and that is a very narrow 1-0. So that was a really good game, Charizard. They're always very enjoyable games that we have. Once again, I'd just like to thank you all for your continued support, and I'll just add that if anyone wants to battle me, just send me a YouTube PM and I'll add you on Skype, or just start a conversation with me on Smogon at House of Wolf 100, because I'm always keen for battles, and with that being said, I will see you all next time. Goodbye.